Aloha class, I wanted to do a video on exercise 8-4. So 8-4 deals with standards, and standards are benchmarks for measuring performance. You'll see them everywhere. Specifically, the ones that I've seen recently have been at Subway. When I buy a sandwich at Subway, the person making my sandwich will level off, like scoop the meat up and then level off the meat. And so that is a standard amount of meat that I get every single time. Or at the Seasider, I've seen that they weigh, the amount of ice cream that they put in a milkshake or things like that, so that everybody gets the same amount of ice cream or meat in every single sandwich. And it's a good internal control for management when we try to reconcile how much we've sold and how much we have left over to how much was accounted for. And so we have these standards, and so Bandar Industries Berhad of Malaysia manufactures sporting equipment. One of the company's products, a football helmet for the North America market, requires special plastic. During the quarter, June 30th, the company manufactured 35,000 helmets using 22,500 kilograms of plastic. The plastic cost the company $171,000. So these are actuals. This is what actually happened. But then according to the standard card, each helmet should require 0.6 kilograms of plastic at a cost of $8 per kilogram. So these are our standards, and then we want to see what actually happened. And we want to identify the variances, the total spending variance or materials variance, and then individual price variance and quantity variance. And so, so the units are these helmets, and there's 35,000 units. What should have been incurred, how much plastic cost should have been incurred. So these are not numbers that we're looking at yet. So, every single helmet cost me 0.6 kilograms of plastic. And so how much plastic am I really going to need based on my standards? So standards say I should be using 21,000 kilograms of plastic, and each kilogram on a standard price would be $8 per kilogram. And so when I do 21,000 times by $8 per kilogram, I get the standard cost. So that's what I think I should be spending to make these 35,000 helmets. But they said they actually spent 171,000. And so 171,000 total actual cost, and the variance over here. Have I overspent? Have I underspent? When I look at the variance, this one minus this one, 3,000, I've actually overspent what I was expected to be spending, and so this would be an unfavorable variance. We usually just use a U for unfavorable, or an F for favorable, but this is unfavorable because the standard cost was 168,000. I spent more than that, and that would be an unfavorable variance here. And so now the second part of the question asks you to break it down into a materials price and quantity variance. And the way that I like to remember my formula is usually we do, for me to remember AAA, SSS, QP, QP, QP. So AAA, SSS, QP, QP, QP. And so your formula would be something to this effect, with the AQ, which stands for actual quantity, AP, which stands for actual price, actual quantity, same thing again, standard price. And when we compare these two numbers to each other, the only thing that's changing is the price, Actual quantity remains constant. For flexible budgets, we use actual quantity, and then the price is changing. So this would be considered a price variance when I look at these two factors. And then the quantity variance would be these two, because standard price is the same, but the quantity is changing. And maybe I can just paste these values, paste them, and then we can get rid of this. Okay, so we're ready for our formula. This is our price variance when I look at these two numbers, and then our quantity variance when I look at these two numbers. And you'll see that in the formula in the textbook. And so we have our units. I usually like to put the units on top. Our standard price was $8, and our standard quantity was 0.6 kilograms. So just a hint, or usually this happens, you need standard price on a per unit basis. So they gave us $8 per unit. That's perfect. Usually need quantities on a total basis. So 0.6 kilograms is not going to be on a total basis. I'm not going to use 0.6 kilograms of plastic to manufacture 35,000 helmets. That doesn't seem reasonable. But if I times the 0.6 times it by 35,000 units, I do think that seems more reasonable, 21,000 kilograms plastic on a total basis. So remember, quantities need to be on a total basis, and then I have more hints over here. So the quantity variance is computed only on the quantity used. The price variance is computed on the entire quantity purchased. But they didn't say that we're purchasing a different amount than we're using in production. So this one won't apply to this problem because we're purchasing the same amount that we're using in production. So the standard price was $8. $8, there we go. And then the standard quantity was 0.6 times it by the number of units, right, which was 35,000 units. So remember, I can't just have 0.6 here. That doesn't make sense for a quantity. I'd have to times it by the number of units, 0.6, and we're making 35,000 helmets. Standard quantity, 21,000. Actual quantity, what did they actually use to make these helmets? They used 22,500 kilograms of plastic, and it cost the company 171,000. But it doesn't give me the price per kilogram over here. They just gave me a total, what they paid, and then they used this amount. So if I did want to find the price per kilogram, right, I would take the total divided by the kilograms to find the price that they paid per kilogram of plastic, right? So 22,500 was the actual quantity, 22,500, and then they paid a total of 171,000. And so in order to solve backwards for the actual price per kilogram, they must have been paying $7.60. So I took the total that they paid divided by the amount that they used, the amount of kilograms that they were using, and they must have been paying $7.60 per kilogram. Standard price would be the same standard price. And so now I can analyze my price variance. And even if I did this one, oh, this might be a circular reference though. So $7.60, that is pretty close to my $8, so I think that's reasonable. This number is pretty close to this number, so make sure these are reasonable amounts, right? This one times by this one, 171,000. So we have a variance. We're analyzing our price variance with these two numbers. Is this a favorable or unfavorable price variance? Well, we should have been paying $8. We paid $7.60. So this would be a favorable variance over here because we're paying less. So maybe we got a discount. How much favorable is it? This one minus this one would be 9,000, and we are underpaying. So negative 9,000 would be favorable, but we really display it as 9,000 favorable, right? So we don't usually do a negative number, but it is 9,000. We just say favorable or unfavorable. And now as we look at the quantity variance, I would look at these two numbers now that I've times standard quantity times it by standard price, standard quantity, actual quantity times it by standard price. And then I can see standard price is constant, so this must be a quantity variance. And I'm supposed to use 21,000, I actually used 22,500, and so that would be unfavorable over here. This one minus this one, it would give me a positive number, which is not a good thing, which means we've overspent our budget, and this would be unfavorable. And so total variance, I don't think we're looking at that correctly. Total variance, I have 9,000 favorable and 12,000 unfavorable. So the unfavorable amount will be larger than the favorable amount. So we will have 3,000 unfavorable. And remember, we already knew this in the beginning of the problem, but now we can see it broken down to 9,000 favorable price variance, 12,000 unfavorable quantity variance. And then you could also use the formula AQ times it by the change in actual price minus the standard price. So there's the formula method if you prefer that. And then we have SP times it by the change in actual quantity minus standard quantity. That's kind of a shortcut method. And then you could come to the same result if you wanted to use the formula method, alternate method.